Welcome to Alaska Weather. This is Holloway with the National Weather Service for April 9th, 2021. We have a couple options for you. A 1-800 number, get you through a phone system, and weather.gov/Alaska on the internet. And those two systems allow you to further refine your weather search and research the watch warnings and advisories that may be out for your area. Lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or concern, please email us at the email listed at the bottom of the page. For the hazardous weather, watch warnings and advisories, the orange area over there in the western interior and around Norton Sound, I suspect will be changing, so please look into those a little bit farther. But right now, the Fairbanks office has a winter storm watch out for those areas from Saturday morning through Sunday afternoon. But again, I suspect that might be upgraded to an advisory and a warning for portions of that orange area over there in the western interior and the lower Yukon and Mulatto Hills area. Otherwise, the Anchorage office went out with a blizzard warning, and that's for that area around Bethel from 4 p.m. this afternoon until 7 a.m. Saturday. And there's also a winter weather advisory for the Bristol Bay region from 7 p.m. this evening until 7 a.m. Saturday. Over in the Copper River Basin, we also have a wind chill advisory, and that remains in effect until 10 a.m. on Saturday. And lastly, there is a high wind watch out for the eastern Alaska range there, and that's from Sunday morning through Monday afternoon. So looking at the satellite image, you can see the low near the Panhandle is slowly making its way into British Columbia. Strong outflow winds, offshore winds over the Prince William Sound, over the Cook Inlet region, driving some strong winds. You can see that the clouds associated with that. And lastly, we have that large low pressure system out there near Shemya, driving an occluded front through the northern Bering Sea, just about to approach the southwest with snow showers there. But otherwise, some fog along the Arctic coast there and some lingering snow showers in the eastern interior. This is what it looks like on the surface map. 1,038 millibar high over the mainland. Light snow showers and fog along the Arctic coast, and that extends down to the Seward Peninsula. But otherwise, that occluded front driving into the northern Bering with a 984 millibar low, mixed precipitation over portions of the Aleutians. Otherwise, that low pressure system in the British Columbia area driving some light snow showers around a weak trough that passes over them. For tonight's weather, that high pressure moves into Yukon territory, 1,038 millibar high there. Weak trough continues over the Panhandle, driving some lingering snow showers. Otherwise, the big low now in the Bering Sea, 985 millibar low with a weakening occluded front. Snow showers over the southwest and Bristol Bay region. Maybe some rain showers over the Alaska Peninsula, southern end of the Alaska Peninsula. Otherwise, mixed precipitation through much of the Bering Sea and portions of the Aleutians. For Saturday's weather, that low continues eastward progression, 986 millibar low now. Mixed precipitation through much of the Bering Sea and Aleutians. Otherwise, some lingering snow showers across much of the southwest and the Cook Inlet region, eastern Kenai Peninsula, and a few lingering snow showers over the Panhandle. Otherwise, the ridge of high pressure moves further east into Canada, and otherwise some weak troughs bring some rain showers down through the eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. For Sunday's weather, mixed precipitation continues to drive east into the Bristol Bay region and portions of the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. Otherwise, some snow showers through much of the interior and down through the southwest. And over in the eastern Kenai Peninsula, some heavy snow showers expected again by Sunday, with that trough approaching the northern Gulf. Moderate snow showers through much of the Alaska Peninsula into the northeast Gulf Coast. Light snow showers also expected over the Panhandle. So low temperatures for Saturday morning, looking at 30 for Ketchikan, 28 in Sitka, 22 in Juneau, 14 in Yakutat, 13 in Valdez, -8 in Talkeetna, 3 in Anchorage for Saturday morning, -6 in Kenai, 20 in Kodiak, 10 in king salmon. Up to the North Slope, we'll be looking at minus 26 in Kaktovik, minus 26 in Dead Horse, minus 11 in Ukjavik, minus 20 in Point Hope, minus 28 in AKwx Pass, minus 37 in Arctic Village, minus 33 in Fort Yukon, minus 23 in Eagle, minus 30 in Fairbanks, minus 17 in Galena, minus 5 in Nome, plus 3 in Svunga. Down to the southwest, Bethel 11, Antioch 6, Dillingham 10, Cold Bay 34, Dutch Harbor 36, Shemya 35, and St. Paul 35 as well. Down through the Gulf region for high temperatures Saturday afternoon, 41 in Ketchikan, 36 in Sitka, 33 in Juneau, 30 in Yakutat, and 28 in Valdez, 21 in Talkeetna, 22 in Anchorage, 24 in Kenai, 36 in Kodiak, 36 in king salmon as well. Up to the North Slope and interior, minus 10 in Kaktovik, minus 7 in Ukjavik, Point Hope minus 1, minus 12 in AKwx Pass, 5 in Fort Yukon, 5 in Eagle, 11 in Fairbanks, 7 in Tanana, 13 in Galena, 13 in Nome, and 11 in Savunga, 19 in McGrath. For high temperatures down to the southwest and Aleutians, looking at high temperatures Saturday afternoon, 33 in Bethel, 34 in Dillingham, 41 in Cold Bay, 43 in Dutch Harbor, 37 out there in Shemya, 36 in St. Paul. For low temperatures Sunday morning, 29 in Ketchikan, 29 in Sitka, 24 in Juneau, 20 in Yakutat, 21 in Valdez, 13 in Talkeetna, 18 in Anchorage, Kenai 18, 35 in Kodiak, 32 in king salmon, 24 in Lime Village. Up to the North Slope and interior, minus 21 Kaktovik, minus 18 in Nome, minus 12 in Point Hope, AKwx Pass, minus 20 Arctic Village, minus 27, minus 14 in Fort Yukon, minus 9 in Eagle, 1 above there in Fairbanks, minus 1 in Tanana, 5 in Galena, 6 in Nome, 12 in McGrath, and minus 2 in Savunga. For the southwest region and Aleutians, 30 for Bethel, Antioch 24, 31 in Dillingham, 33 in Cold Bay, 34 in Dutch Harbor, 31 in Shemya, 34 in St. Paul. For high temperatures Sunday afternoon, we're going to be looking at 40 for Ketchikan, 39 in Sitka, 38 in Juneau, 34 in Haines, 36 in Yakutat, 32 in Valdez, 40 in Seward, 33 in Anchorage, 33 in Talkeetna, 35 in Kenai, 42 in Kodiak, 38 in king salmon. For the North Slope and interior, minus 8 in Kaktovik, minus 10 in Dead Horse, minus 7 in Ukjavik, 1 in Point Hope, 2 in AKwx Pass, Arctic Village 1, 14 in Fort Yukon, 22 in Eagle, 13 in Bettles, 29 in Fairbanks, 18 in Tanana, 18 in Galena, Nome 16, 6 in Savunga, 11 there in Kotzebue, 27 in McGrath, and 25 in Grayling, and 28 in Monarch. Swinging down through the southwest and Alaska Peninsula Aleutians as well, looking at 27 in McGrath, 35 in Lime Village, 35 in Antioch, 35 in Bethel, 28 there in Amonic, 36 in Dillingham, 42 in Kodiak, 40 in Chignik, 40 in Sand Point, 40 in Cold Bay, 40 in Dutch Harbor, 38 in Nikolsky, 35 in Atka, 37 in Adak, 33 in Shemya, 35 in St. Paul, and 33 in Kipnik.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the aviation forecast, starting with the flying weather for Saturday morning, we'll be watching another system come into the Bering Sea, but IFR conditions through the central Bering Sea over into the YK Delta, Kuskokwim Bay, Bethel region, as well as some marginal conditions down through Bristol Bay region and through the Alaska Peninsula and through the Aleutians. Also some marginal conditions in the Panhandle. For Saturday afternoon, as that system continues to pull north, IFR conditions pulling into the Norton Sound region, St. Lawrence, St. Matthew Islands as well, and areas of IFR conditions over Alaska Range and over in the Kenai Peninsula and portions of the southern end of the Alaska Peninsula, marginal conditions through much of the Gulf region and Bering Sea. For Sunday's weather, again, that system pulling into the southwest there, IFR conditions through much of the southwest, also some marginal conditions there, and also into the Gulf and to the Panhandle, but otherwise some IFR conditions in the Bering Sea and marginal conditions through much of the Aleutians. For Sunday afternoon, IFR conditions spread further east with the next system pulling in through the west coast again. For Sunday afternoon, IFR conditions through much of that region, and that also extends down through Bristol Bay region over into the eastern Kenai, Alaska Range as well. Also marginal conditions just north of northern portions of the Panhandle into the northeast Gulf Coast, and marginal conditions through Alaska Peninsula and Aleutians. Past conditions on Saturday went for very nice flying conditions for AKwx as well as Adigan. And Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal, decreasing to IFR conditions. Rainy, VFR, decreasing to marginal. Windy went for VFR conditions all day on Saturday, and same for Isabel. Mentasta, much the same, nice flying out there. Tanita went for VFR but decreasing to marginal conditions. Portage, VFR but decreasing to IFR conditions during the day. And Chilkoot and White, as we saw in the flying weather forecast, marginal conditions for much of the Panhandle. Freezing levels, Saturday morning, surface freezing level cuts across the central Bering over into the Alaska Peninsula, out into the Gulf and over into the Panhandle. You have to get into the Alaska Peninsula and central and eastern Aleutians to get some elevated freezing levels. For ice conditions on Saturday, between 3 and 10,000 feet over the Panhandle into the Gulf region. I also put in some considerable moderate for those areas for the Panhandle. Also some considerable moderate over the southwest region, Bristol Bay area. And all that's going to be between 7 and 10,000 feet, and likewise down through the central Aleutians with an area of considerable moderate down there. For its jet stream on Saturday, low pressure system analyzed in the central Bering, otherwise westerly flow across much of the mainland, and more southerly flow as you get into the northern Gulf, 100 knots there. The jet stream maximum was just off the map, just south of the eastern Aleutians, but otherwise looks like westerly or even northwesterly winds prevail across much of the mainland. It's 70 to 75 knots across the Brooks Range and 35 knots across the interior. 9,000 foot winds on Saturday. Low pressure system again analyzed in the central Bering. Strong southerly winds coming into the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula with 70 knots there, but otherwise more westerly as you get into the southwest region. 25 you get into Anchorage Bowl, south central area. And then more northwesterly flows you get into the northern Gulf region and Panhandle with 45 knots there over much of the Panhandle, but otherwise light and variable over the central and northern portions of the mainland. For 3,000 foot winds on Saturday, that low pressure system continue analyzed in the central Bering. Counterclockwise flow, 45 knots from a northwesterly flow across the Aleutians, otherwise light and variable across the mainland and as well as across the Panhandle. For turbulence on Saturday, went below 3,000 feet there in basically the central and eastern Aleutians, and below 4,000 feet as you get into the Alaska Peninsula and portions of the southwest, with areas in those two areas isolated severe conditions possible. with pretty good winds there as that low pressure system can.
Welcome to another edition of Alaska Weather Facts. I'm meteorologist Dave Snyder, and joining us once again is our good friend Eric Stevens from GINA, the Geographic Information Network of Alaska. He is here and has been here many times to talk to us about weather satellites and how those can help Alaskans understand our weather, how we can do better detection, keep more people safe from things even like volcanic ash. But today, Eric, you're going to talk to us a little bit more about weather satellites and how that can keep Alaskans safe and protect our property from wildfire, right?
That's right, Dave. Today's topic is where there's smoke, there's fire. And thanks for having us back again to Alaska
Anytime.
Weather. Well, weather satellites have a lot of different instruments on them. It turns out that the electromagnetic spectrum has a lot going on in it, and only one part of that is visible light, what we see.
Right.
Weather satellites, of course, report that. Today's topic is wildfires. There are some people who say that in Alaska in the summertime you don't have severe weather. These people are usually from Oklahoma or somewhere, and F5 tornadoes tend not to occur in Alaska.
Right.
People have also said what we do have in the summer. What is Alaska's severe summer weather can be hydrology,
Right.
flash flood and erosion in the mountains and things like that, and fires, wildfires.
Absolutely.
Those were here in 2004, certainly remember that. We've got an example here from 2014. Now, it was a quiet season overall, but in May, down on the Kenai Peninsula, we had a wildfire on the Funny River, and this is a satellite image from a polar orbiter that went right over Alaska, and we can see the plume of smoke coming out of that fire on the Kenai, curling down. It's caught in the wind. It goes down toward Kodiak Island, curves around. You can see it circulating around a low pressure system that's in the Gulf of Alaska.
It was a beautiful picture.
Oh my gosh.
Except there was a fire.
There's a fire there. The nice thing is with this satellite image, you can tell where the fire origin is, where the smoke is coming from. And it's a color image. We're looking at the wavelength spectrum of about 0.4 to 0.7 micrometers or microns. That's what the human eye would see. If you were riding on the satellite and looked down, you could see this kind of an image.
Right.
So that's pretty nice. But it turns out there's more to the electromagnetic spectrum than just visible light.
Okay.
You've heard of infrared, ultraviolet, that kind of thing. If we move into longer wavelengths, let's go to one specifically, 3.7 micron.
Okay, 3.7.
Why worry about that one?
Okay.
Well, we've got an example here. 3.7, it turns out, happens to be very sensitive to a certain temperature range, temperatures where fires burn.
Okay.
And so we've got an example zoomed in a little more from that same Funny River fire down on the Kenai Peninsula, and we can see that you get up into a few hundred degrees Fahrenheit, and that's where the colors are. We can see there on the Funny River fire to the west and to the east, almost a horseshoe shape there, is not only we're seeing where the fire is in a general sense, but specifically where it's the active fire
That is where
front.
it's burning right now.
And it's
Amazing.
3.7 microns is the important temperature there.
Okay.
That's right.
So this is really important to firefighters on the ground, people that are making plans and directing the firefighters on where they need to go and cut the trenches and keep people safe.
You know it. If you want to fight that fire, you got to know where it is.
Okay.
You got to know the leading edge. We've also got a movie loop, nothing quite like animating it in time.
Yeah.
You can see the fire spreading out over time with a succession of film or a succession of images. Now this is one channel, 3.7 micron. You know, we looked at that color smoke image before.
Right.
And that's actually a red, a green, and a blue. That's how you get color imagery. What if you took 3 different wavelengths in the infrared? You went from like 2.2 micron, 1.5 micron, up to 3.7. You mix them together, you get this other kind of color image, which is even a better way to sharply bring out the details of where that leading edge of the fire is.
Okay.
You'll note, though, in the infrared, guess what? We don't see the smoke. That's too bad. And on these movie loops, you can see the clouds go by. These channels can't see through clouds. The lesson is there's no one perfect solution. You got to have the visible, got to have some of that infrared single 3.7 channel, some of the infrared mixing to help get a different perspective. Another one, we've talked before about a fun channel called the day-night band.
Yes, one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, and in Alaska in the winter, it's great. We got all this darkness. The day-night band is so sensitive to seeing light. You can see features that otherwise aren't available. Now in Alaska, when you have a forest fire, it tends to be light out all the time.
Right.
It's our summer. But we can go down south to the Rim Fire in California in 2013. Now, okay, it was in California, not Alaska, but Alaskan crews went down to fight that fire, so we can talk about it here on Alaska Weather. Here we have a 3.7 micron channel shot of the rim fire, again, kind of a horseshoe shape, showing that active fire front down there. And then we'll look again to the day-night band, the visible light, and then you can see how the fire is all bright. You can see the active fire front and actually the city lights over there too. Turns out that the cities, while they're active in a social sense, are not really hot in a fire sense. So they don't show up in the 3.7 micron. They're not hot like a fire is, but the fire in the cities look the same from a visible light perspective. And a fun thing here too is that we can see the smoke plume going north from the rim fire on the day-night band. So if we were ever to have, like in 2004 in Alaska, you get dark at night, we still had an active fire season that year. That was, you know, that really bad year. The day-night band didn't exist then, but if we had fires now in August, we could use it then. The lesson here is weather satellites, they offer many different wavelengths of light. Some are used for different purposes, and some of these we just looked at tonight are especially helpful here in Alaska to find and to track the behavior of these wildfires so the crews can go out there and do their jobs.
Sure. So a satellite toolbox for the firefighting crews and the fire weather forecasters, and it just underlines how important satellites are, especially for Alaska and our mission for the National Weather Service to protect life and property, and also to enhance the national economy. So wonderful stuff there, Eric. And people can look at pictures like this anytime by going to gina.alaska.edu. You'll find images there all around Alaska at various times of the year, and not just about fire weather, but volcanic ash and smoke and anything else you want to check out. They're always beautiful pictures and always interesting to look at no matter what time of the day. Thanks again for joining us, Eric. We appreciate it and welcome you back anytime. For this edition of Alaska Weather Facts, I'm meteorologist Dave Snyder. See you next time. And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the marine forecast, starting with the ice edge. The ice forecaster mentioned that the ice was pushing westward from the eastward winds around the occluder front, and she did expect the northerly winds to develop once again maybe by Sunday as the northerly winds again develop, pushing the ice pack further south. Taking a look at the marine forecast for southeast, inside waters, winds generally from the northerly direction 10 to 40 with seas as high as 8 feet. So expect some small craft advisories there over the Lynn Canal. But otherwise, outside waters, winds variable direction 15 to 20 with seas as high as 15 feet. And for Sunday, inside waters, winds generally from the southerly direction 15 to 20 with seas as high as 4 feet. Outside waters, winds from a southerly direction as well 15 to 25 with seas as high as 8 feet. For south central, Saturday's forecast, winds generally from a easterly direction 15 to 20 with seas as high as 4 feet. And for the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a northeasterly direction 15 to 30 with seas as high as 9 feet in the Kamishak Bay region. For Sunday, winds generally from a southeasterly direction 30 to 40 with seas as high as 10 feet. So look for gale force winds in there on Sunday on the Gulf region. And for the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a northerly direction 25 to 35 with seas as high as 14 feet near Kamishak Bay region. For Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, winds around Kodiak Island, variable direction 20 to 25 with seas as high as 8 feet. South side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from the southerly direction at 8 feet. And winds on the north side of the peninsula, winds generally from a southerly direction 20 to 30 with seas as high as 8 feet. And for Sunday, around Kodiak Island, look for winds generally from a southerly direction 25 to 40. So that look for gales there on Sunday. And the south side of the peninsula, winds generally from a southwesterly direction 30 with seas as high as 12 feet. And again, look for gales there. For the north side of the peninsula, winds generally from a southerly direction up to 30 with seas as high as 10 feet. For the Aleutian Chain on Saturday, winds generally from a southwesterly direction 30 to 40 miles, 40 knots with winds with seas as high as 21 feet there near Kiska. And for Sunday, sorry about the graphic, but the winds look to be from a westerly direction at around 30 with seas as high as 16 feet just south of Nikolsky. For the west coast on Saturday, winds generally from an easterly direction, 30 to 40 with seas as high as 16 feet there just on the southern end of the ice pack and around the Pribilofs. And for Sunday west coast, winds generally from a variable direction, 15 to 45 with seas as high as 11 feet just south of the ice pack there near St. Matthew Island. For the Arctic coast on Saturday, winds generally from a southerly direction, 10 to 15 along the Beaufort Sea coast. For the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from a variable direction, 10, and down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from a easterly direction, 25 to 40. And for Sunday, look for winds along the Beaufort Sea coast from a southerly direction, 10 to 15, and up through the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from a variable direction, 15 to 25, and down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from a northern direction, 30 to 45. For tonight's weather, we're going to be seeing that low in the Bering Sea, 985 millibar low, though, with weakening clouder front driving some snow showers through the southwest and Bristol Bay region, Chopo Point just south of the Alaska Peninsula. Otherwise, some mixed precipitation across much of the Bering Sea and portions of Aleutians. Otherwise, high ridge of high pressure over the mainland, 1,038 millibars there, and weakening trough pushing through the Panhandle, driving some lingering snow showers there. For Saturday's weather, that low moves further east, 96 millibar low now. Trough associated with that system will continue to bring some snow showers through the southwest and Cook Inlet region, with a weak trough approaching the Kenai Peninsula.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.